Okay, Lori.
Hello. Well,
Yeah.
Celesia, thank you so
Hello.
much. It's really great to be up here with you guys again. I love all of you guys.
It's really fun.
And I have really benefited from knowing all of these incredible people up here, so I'm just really grateful to be here and so grateful to all of you guys. My name is Lori Spagna. I'm a professional animal communicator, a professional psychic intuitive. I work with energy. I do a lot of energy healing for pets and animals in the areas of theta healing, DNA theta healing. We're actually working with DNA. We do have more than 2 strands. They're labeled as junk strands. They are not. I also do Reiki, energy healing, and I do things like EFT, which is a tapping technique to release blockages of energy in the body, very similar to acupressure and acupuncture. And I also, there we go, that's better. Hope you guys can hear me. I also do the Akashic records, if you know what those are. They're basically the records of your soul's existence of all time. And I do this for pets and for people, and I do a lot of coaching, and I work with what we call the karmic board and other light beings who are here to help us. Now, this stuff might sound really airy-fairy, out there, crazy, but the way that I work is I really love to explain it scientifically, because that's my favorite thing. I'm going to explain why. My business is called Effel's God. It spells dog's life backwards. Because I really have come to know that dogs are simply mirroring us in some way, shape, or form, as are all animals, and since we are human animals, we are doing the same thing with others in our world. And so I name my business dogs Effel's God because of that, and also because I believe there's a God in every dog's life. So what happened for me, just to give you a brief introduction, is that I was actually always working in corporate America in my earlier young adult life, and I was doing quite successful in that business, but I felt like I was really enslaved to the system and enslaved to my business, my work, and I didn't know how to get out of my chains. And I was the kind of person who would sit behind my desk at 11 o'clock at night sort of crying and alone in the office, and like a good slave, and I would have this little mantra in my mind, and I would just every night be like, how can I be of service to animals on a global scale? And I just kept asking this question, and I was so impassioned about it, and really all I wanted to do was be a dog trainer at that time, a really great dog trainer, and I couldn't see a way out, to go from 6 figures in this high-powered position to just being a dog trainer. So that was my own ego judgment. So anyway, then I had 2 other mantras, which were really in my mind constantly, which was, 1, I wanted God to be my boss. I was really tired of feeling enslaved and to my bosses. And so I wanted God to be my boss, and I kept asking, how can I make God my boss? How can I make God my boss? And then my other mantra was, because I was on my own spiritual journey, I really wanted the truth. I wanted to know what the truth of everything was, and I was willing to go to the end of the earth to find it and back, which is apparently what ended up happening. So ultimately, my brother died. I started hearing him in my head. Up until that point, I wasn't really psychic at all, or at least I know I was, but I wasn't practicing in any way, shape, or form, other than as a child when I used to talk with my animals, so my animal companions. And so I realize now that that was sort of the divine kickoff for me with my brother, where he just said, you've got to wake up, honey. And at that point, when I told my then husband, what was going on, he was like, whoa, I did not sign up for psychic craziness chaos. See ya. And so I took off and went to Maui, which was basically the most remote place on the planet Earth that I could go to get connected to the truth no matter what, right? So anyway, at that point I underwent this radical shift of consciousness, which I now realize is what we are all going through on this planet at this time. And I now define myself pretty much as a visionary and light worker here to help the rest of the people on the planet wake up. And when I was asking God, how do I be of service on a global scale, this is what God had in mind, right? So anyway, and I'm sure lots of you out there know about lightworkers, having been here this weekend. So who out there is actually right now communicating with their animals in a 2-way dialogue? Anybody? That's a pretty good show of hands. Who's receiving messages from their animals, knowing that they're receiving them? Okay. Well, you're all receiving them. You're just not paying attention. So if you haven't heard it already, we're all psychic. There's no one in this room who's not psychic. There's no one in this room who's not communicating with animals if you love them. The only thing is, it's a question of, are you trained to understand, receive, and translate the information you're getting? And are you trained to understand what that information is and how then to communicate it, to receive it and translate it effectively? So let me just explain a little bit more about the background, and then I want to share more about the animals, obviously, because this is the point of why we're all here, right? I've worked with animals in almost every kind of body you can imagine. I have worked with giraffes, elephants, orangutans in Borneo, elephants in Thailand, whales, dolphins, sea lions, otters, seals, gerbils, guinea pigs, rabbits, pigs, ducks, geese, all kinds of birds. I mean, the list goes on, and of course dogs and cats, right? And the thing is, what they all say over and over and over again is, we're here to help the humans. Which is kind of ironic, because we've been walking around on this planet thinking we're actually helping them, right? Isn't that what we all think? Okay, so the thing is that what we humans don't, I think what we're just starting to wake up to is the truth of our power within. The truth of who we really are. And how we can access that truth knowingly, consciously, and deliberately. And when we choose to wake up and remove all of our egoic human ideas that we're separate from this, or that it's not really there, or that it's our imagination, or that we're just hallucinating, or whatever it is that our fears, our worries, our doubts, our frustrations and concerns, and all those things are that get in the way, once we can release that, we can know what our animals already know, which is that we are basically gods in a bodies. And I know that sounds so out there, but it's not. It's just that we've been conditioned to not know it, conditioned to not believe it, classical conditioned, right? Classical conditioning, like Pavlov's theory, you know, remember that? We're just the animals in the maze, in the box, who pretty much are trying to figure our way out, right? Like Earth is the kind of place we're all sort of trapped in, and we don't know we're in this insane asylum, like none of us know it, but really we have this incredible power within us. This incredible wisdom, this incredible energy, this ability to heal ourselves, to communicate telepathically, to know things that are in our highest and best good, to serve ourselves and others in this beautiful, blissful way. And the animals are here to teach us how and to show us the way. So what's one of the main things that the animals teach us about is energy. Okay, Slacia touched on it. Karen touched on it. We'll be hearing more about it. You've been hearing about it this weekend. You all tapped into it just when we did that beautiful meditation. We have energy, boundless energy within us. And all we have to do is access it. But it means we got to move out of our stuff, right? Our human egoic beliefs. So if energy is according to what Einstein told us, in perpetual motion, in waves of motion, which we call vibrations of energy, and certain things are vibrating faster and other things are vibrating slower, the animals are already tuned into that energy. They don't have to figure it out like we do. We're using our left brains as our dominant aspect part of our brain. Left brain is the brain that calculates, analyzes, numbers, figures things out, makes lists, has to get to work, has to buy food, has to put food on the table, has to please our bosses, our peers, our spouses, our children, our relatives, our best friends, and our pets, and then we put ourselves behind ourselves, right? Everyone with me on this? Yeah. But our animals don't have to do that. They're just sitting in the energy. And so what they do is they kind of take on our energy because they live with us, our companions, and they emulate out that energy to us in a mirror of us, helping us to see either what we need to release or learn or compensate for in some way, shape, or form. So they're teaching us about energy, and this is a way of communicating in the future. What's on the other side of 2012 has in huge part to do with us understanding energy and how to use it. So the animals are helping us learn that. The other thing they're really helping us to learn is telepathy. I know that was mentioned here. Telepathy is not crazy, right? We have something called a theta brainwave. It is a brainwave that connects us to universal intelligence. We can access it. We can all connect with Source, Creator, God, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, Allah. It doesn't really care what we call it. That's just a label, a word. We've come to learn it as. It's a source of infinite intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, kindness, compassion, love, healing, and the most blissful states you can possibly imagine. And we all have access to it. So the animals are already connected there because they're not too busy with their left brains. They're in their right brain hemisphere, which is that feeling, sensing part of them. The feeling, sensing, knowing. Make sense? So this is some of the ways that our animals are teaching us and preparing us. So if we can learn to access these parts of us, we then are able to connect with one another and our own source that exists within us all. And we all know, as animal lovers in this room, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here, that really the truth of who we all are is what we see in our own animals. Love, kindness, compassion, wisdom, sweetness, forgiveness, joy, playfulness. And they have the most incredible, simple things to teach us as well as the most complex. Sometimes it is just slow down, have a great day, take some time to roll in the grass. And other times it is, you're too stressed out. I need you to chill out, right? So these are the things. Okay, so a lot of times, I have a lot of my students are in this room. I just want to tell you how happy I am to see so many of my students because I teach other people to do this. But a lot of times people ask me, can I really do it? And this is what I'm saying, you absolutely can. And it's just a matter of clearing your channel of all of this lower vibrational energy, things we associate with fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, frustration, concern, and clearing that channel so you can be a clearer, more vibrant frequency of energy resonating up here with joy, happiness, health, wealth, abundance, prosperity, all those things we aspire to be, right? So that's effectively, I hope I've summed up because we're talking about what our animals are teaching us. I know we didn't really get too much into animals in the afterlife, but I do want to say that about the animals in the afterlife before I hand over the platform here, that they don't ever leave us. We know that energy is in a state of perpetual motion. All energy has intelligence. And the energy that's housed within the physical form never dies. It just transmutes. These are universal laws, laws of physics, and they're in harmony with the spiritual laws, which is that we never die. We just shed a skin, which is a body or a vehicle that carries around the soul, right? And so the animals who leave us, yes, they teach us about death, they teach us about life, rebirth, the process of resynthesis, regeneration. They teach us about letting go, and they teach us about the endless, perpetual stream of love. And they teach us that love does not die and cannot be measured by what kind of body or shape it exists in. It doesn't matter if the body exists in a human body, in a body from another planet, in a body of another animal on the planet, in a body of a human in an opposite side of the world in another country. It's still love that exists in there. And it's time for us to know that we're all connected. So the animals who cross, they stay with us teaching these lessons. And they absolutely stay by our sides. And the only thing really that they want us to know is how absolutely, completely, and totally divinely we are loved. And that our job here is to recognize that within ourselves and to have fun at it. And to really receive that love, not only from them, but from ourselves, towards ourselves, for ourselves. Because for so long, it just hasn't really been a whole lot of fun here. And in reality, we just forgot that it could be fun. And that is really the purpose of having a physical body. Because once you lose it, the whole dynamic changes. It's really blissful for them. Their only regret is that we're not so blissed out too, down in this reality. But the thing, I'll just leave it with this, is this one little teeny story. I had a dog who came to me. She's my teacher dog. Her name was Kenya. I rescued her from South Central LA. She's no longer in her physical body. She became my teacher and was my teacher even in her crossing and continues to be my teacher. And her question to me was always, in the teaching process, can you do this? Kenya? Kenya? Can you do that? Can you do this? And that's how I learned everything from her, really. So I've moved to a place beyond questioning and into knowing. And anyway, I just want to say, just leave you with this. I've written about all these in a lot of these books and CDs, Animals in the Afterlife, how to access your theta brainwave, communicate with animals, learning to communicate with animals, and I have audio CDs on this and ebooks, and I would love to know you. If you want to know more about this, it is my purpose and my passion to share this information and to teach others about it, because it is so phenomenal once we start using these gifts, and we all have them. So just thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your willingness and desire to keep learning. We never stop learning, and we never stop growing, and I'm just so grateful to be able to share what I've learned and grown to learn with you. Okay.
Thanks, Lori.